So maybe you slide one hip toward the wall. There's no graceful way to come down. The spine goes down, the legs go up. You're welcome to scoot the bum up toward the wall. I've got some space there. It just feels better for my body today. Some people like a block or a blanket under their bum. So if there's anything else in this shape, feel free to take it. Any other prop that's calling to you? And then take a moment and just notice how the back of the body rests against the floor. You might feel the flat part of the hips. You might feel the shoulder blades. You might feel the back of the head. Maybe you notice that when the spine is neutral, there's a little curve underneath the low back. You might feel that low back. You might even take your fingers and slide the fingers underneath there. Just notice your natural curve. And then we have a curve along the neck. So you might feel there's space between the mat and the back of the neck. And then let the arms rest comfortably. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. I'm Catherine. I'll guide you through class today. I'm going to explore Tadasana, mountain pose, and Vira 2, warrior 2 pose. Might even throw in a little pyramid pose. With these first couple of breaths, you're just arriving, you're checking in, noticing how your body feels. You're noticing the way the breath flows through your body, that inhale and the exhale. You might even check in and notice the thoughts that race across the mind. Maybe you work toward letting go of anything that came before class and letting go of anything that's going to come after. You just kind of settle in. And then take a peek at the toes and start to bend the toes and extend. Maybe even spread out, make space between the toes. Do that a few times. And then a little butterfly shape here. Bend the knees, start to open up the knees toward the wall. Soles of the feet come together. The heels can descend as low as you'd like. And then let the hands just hold on to the thighs. Maybe you press the thighs toward the wall very gently. And then let the knees kind of float away, thighs float away. Press, a little flutter of both legs. And then take a breath in stillness. Legs become still. Arms reach up toward the ceiling. I'm going to start with the palms facing one another. Fingers spread far apart. Very alert through the fingers. Notice if you pulled those shoulders up off the mat, go ahead and let them plop back down, spread across the chest. Keep the shoulders rooted toward the mat and roll the palms away from one another. Thumbs toward the wall, then palms in, thumbs toward the center of the room. Just that shoulder shimmy here, different perspective. How does it feel? We usually start this in a T shape. And then the next time the palms roll away from one another, start to open up the arms into that T shape. You might be able to bring the palms down toward the floor. You might have flipped the backs of the hands. Both are perfect. And then we'll reach the palms up to the ceiling, take those hands up toward the ceiling, maybe even bring them toward one another. You might even find prayer hands here. Take the hands overhead toward the center of the room, any amount. Notice what happens with those shoulders, and then lift the hands back up to the ceiling. We'll do that again. We'll take palms away from one another as we open up the arms into that T shape. And then flip the palms and lift them back up to the ceiling. Take the fingers over the head toward the center of the room. And reach back up again to the ceiling. Release the hands, go ahead and support the knees as they come together. Rest the feet against the floor, and the legs are just neutral here. Knees are pretty bent. Press the heels into the wall and notice how the tailbone kind of curls up toward the ceiling, and then lower the tailbone down to the mat. So pelvic tilts here. You might not have as much movement. We're pretty constricted because we've got our feet on the wall. And take a few more just like that. And then again, no graceful way. We're going to stretch out nice and long. I like to slide the feet down and then just kind of inch your way, head's coming to the center of the room. Feet are going to stay in contact with the wall. So as the legs stretch out, maybe you take the heels down to the mat, toes up to the ceiling. Let the arms come out to the side. Palms up to the sky. For a lot of people, we've got to put a little space between the pinky finger and the hip. You might notice that the elbows bend. Some people it does, some people it doesn't. And then this is our mountain pose. So take a moment and feel the way the back of the heels press against the mat. Notice the ball mound. So all the way across the foot, press it in toward the wall. Keep pressing the feet into the wall, and then take all 10 toes off of the wall, spread them apart, and then land them back on the wall, softly finding a new home for each toe. Pause there and notice the parts of the leg that touch the mat. You might feel the calf, you might feel the hamstring, you might not feel any part of the leg at all. You might feel the entire leg. Just notice. And then shift that awareness up to the hips and feel the back of the hips against the mat. Notice that curve in the low back, shoulders nice and broad. Curve along the neck. The back of the head toward the mat. Take several moments just breathing, noticing if your breath has shifted in any way from that movement. And then start to reach the arms out. If you're close to someone, you might end up holding hands. That's okay. Coming into that T shape, bend the knees, set both bottoms of the feet to the mat. Notice what happened in the curve of the back. And my body, it lifts up, it exaggerates. And then let the knees sway side to side, that windshield wiper movement. You're just shifting back and forth here, checking in, noticing how the hips feel. Might notice a little massage along the bum or the back of the body. As the knees lift back up to the ceiling, pause. Take the right ankle, cross it over the left. Here's that pigeon pose. We're going to drip that bent right knee toward the wall. And then pause and notice what happened with the bum. You might have that left hip kind of lift a little bit, bring it back down. And then let the legs sway side to side in the figure 4, maybe 2 or 3 times. Depending on how fast you move, how fast you breathe. We'll set that right foot back down on the floor. Take the left ankle, cross it over the right thigh. Shift the knee toward the wall, but keep both bum cheeks firmly rooted. And let the legs sway side to side. As the legs come back up, set the feet on the floor, roll to one side or the other, bring the arm along with you. We're coming into tabletop, hands and knee pose. You can go ahead and face the wall or face the center of the room. Both are great. Traditionally, the wrists are right underneath the shoulders. If you'd rather have the hands a little bit forward so that it protects the wrist, that's great. You're also welcome to come down to forearms. Take a few movements of cat and cow. Round the spine up toward the ceiling, and then let the tailbone lift, belly descend, chest broadens, and just take that back and forth a few times. One more round, both directions. And then peek back. If you're close to the wall, maybe you kind of crawl forward just a little bit. Right leg's gonna reach back and float up off the mat, toes to the ground. Left arm stretches forward, thumb toward the ceiling. Now check in with your balance. The arm is always optional. You can take it back down to the mat if you'd like. We're going to think about bringing that left pinky down and the toes down. Tap the mat. Lift back up again. Connect this to breath. Exhale as you lower. Inhale as you lift. Exhale. Inhale. One more. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Take that right arm out to the side, reach it up toward the sky, add a little twist. And then thread that right arm underneath the body. Go ahead and lower down onto the shoulder, maybe the side of the head. You can take several breaths here, just checking in with the shoulders. I'm going to lift my hands up off the mat and circle through the wrist. That is what my body calls for. You might find the hips swaying side to side. Just a little space to tap into your body's own wisdom. And then the left hand plants again. Press it into the mat. Unthread that right arm. Stretch it up to the sky. Bring it back down. Left leg reaches back behind. Extend the leg. Right arm reaches forward if you choose the arm. Take a few breaths here. Notice the balance. And then moving with your breath as you exhale, pinky and all the toes tap down. Inhale, lift and extend. There's 5 in all, just moving with your breath. As you finish up, hand and knee come back to the mat. Left arm lifts, reach it up toward the sky. Thread it underneath the body. Lower the body down. Check in with the wrists, the fingers, the shoulders. And then the right hand presses into the mat. We lift the body up, unthread that left arm, reach it up to the sky, and then bring it back down. Widen the knees, take them out as far as comfortable. Big toes come together. Press the bum back to the heels for child's pose. You then lower the body down, however far away or how comfortable you are coming toward the mat. That's perfect. And then while we're lingering here, notice the space of the spine. Do you remember that feedback that we got from the floor? Can you feel or check in with that curve in the low back or the curve in the neck? How does it feel to have the legs nice and wide? Two more breaths right here, right now. And then grip the mat with the fingertips, pull the body back up. Narrow the space between the knees. Let's step 1 foot forward. Shift your weight into that foot and into your hands. Step the other foot forward. Find yourself in a forward fold. We're going to take ragdoll. So widen the feet, bend the knees. Maybe one hand comes to grab the other arm. Some people like to sway here. Some people like to bend and straighten one leg at a time. And then release the hands. Very mindfully start to roll the body back up to stand. And then take a few steps to the short edge of the mat, so we're coming toward the center of the room. Okay. Mindful of the blankets on the mats. If you know that they're there, it's not a problem. I'm going to think about the way we walk and take a little mindful meditation toward the back of the mat. So let's just shift the weight into the left foot. Lift the right foot. You're going to step, teeny tiny step. Right toes go back, then the ball of the foot, then the heel. Put your weight into the right foot, teeny tiny step, left toes, left ball, left heel. Repeat the pattern. Segmenting the pieces or the parts of your foot. Eventually, you're going to run into that wall. When you get there, just pause. If you're still walking, no worries. And then as you come to the wall, first place the bum on the wall. Now, if you've got a flat bum, you might be able to get the heels toward the wall. My middle schoolers used to say, if you got a juicy booty, you're not going to have the heels against the wall. So I want to focus and just feel the bum against the wall, the back of the hip. Broaden the shoulder blades, place them against the wall. You might even take the tops of the shoulders toward the wall, back of the head toward the wall. And then notice the wall is giving us feedback just like the floor did. Notice how that feels. Could you open the palms forward to the center of the room? You might even take the backs of the hands and the fingers to the wall. Feel free to widen the hands if that is uncomfortable at any point. And take a few breaths. For me, this is way more active than on the floor when I'm lying down. And then take a step or two forward away from the wall and find that same shape. Imagining, remembering what that information the wall gave us, applying it here. This for me is the most active. And then connect to the breath. We'll inhale, arms up and overhead. Take a swan dive down, hinge forward. Let the top of the head descend. Half lift, hands touch shin, blocks thighs. Hold again. And then take the arms out and up. Reach them up overhead. And then just release the hands. Return to mountain pose, that Tadasana. One more time, that half salute. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward, reach for a block, grab it on your way, half lift. And a fold. And then roll all the way up, circling the arms up and overhead. We'll put the block into the right hand and then release mountain pose. Go ahead and take a really big step with your right foot off of your mat. Perfect. Judy, you're gonna wanna move a little bit so that your right leg is still connected to the wall. Yep, perfect. Now take your right toes and roll the pinky toward the wall. That block, we bend the knee and we're gonna slide the block in between the knee or the calf and the wall. Blocks have different widths. If you got a bigger booty, take a wider width on your block. If you've got a smaller booty, well, take a smaller width. And then kind of just hold on to the wall. We're gonna wiggle that left foot back. See if that left heel can come to the wall. And then pause there. These are our legs for warrior two. But could you think about the left bum and roll it toward the wall any amount, but press into the block. The goal here is not to lose the block. Okay, widen your stance. Take the right foot, slide it away a little bit more. Oh, we want to think about maybe both bum cheeks toward the wall. And we're pressing into that block, nice and active. Can you take the shoulder blades to the wall? And then open the arms out wide, letter T shape. Gaze softly over that right hand. There's a rotation through the neck. We're actively squeezing the left bum toward the wall, actively pressing into the block, feeling both shoulder blades on the wall. Anybody else find this challenging? Oh. Okay, reach down, grab the block, straighten the right leg. I'm going to take that block into my hand, find the letter T, and then start to slide that right hand forward and down. The block's coming. I always like the highest height. Down to the wall, left hand stretches up. In triangle pose, that top bum, that left bum is reaching for the wall. The shoulder blades are pressing against the wall. If you feel wobbly, look down at the right foot. If you're like, ooh, I'm taking up space and I feel good, look upward. Notice the parts of the body that touch the wall. Use that feedback to inform you. And then take that left hand to the hip, grab hold of the block with your right hand, lift back up, bend into the right knee, and roll the toes forward to the center of the room. This time our heels are going to be close to the wall. Again, it depends on your bum size. Toes come in slightly. Blocks in both hands. We're just going to squeeze the block, hold it right in front of your chest. Inhale, reach it up toward the ceiling. As you exhale, bring that block toward the center of the room. And then bend the elbows back into the chest. Repeating, lifting up. Taking it to the center of the room. Bending elbows. Perfect. Start to hinge forward. The block's going to come down to the floor. I'm going to use the highest height here. You can press your bum against the wall. And then notice how that puts the weight of the body into the heels. Could you shift the weight more into the ball of the foot? Your bum's going to float a little bit away from the wall. Might feel like you're folding forward slightly. You've got that block to stop you. And then shift the bum back, press against the wall. Press into the feet and start to lift the body up. Bring the block with you. Left toes, we're going to roll them out away from the body. Pinky toe toward the wall, block in the left hand. Bend the left knee, setting up for warrior two on the other side. Slide that block in between the calf and the knee and the wall. Take the arms out, nice and wide, letter T. And then just notice what's your regular setup. I got here, I can tell my body's feeling tired on this side, and my bum is just not even anywhere near the wall. So I'm going to stretch that right bum back toward the wall, but I got to keep activating the outer left leg to find that block secure. Gaze is over the left fingertips. Notice.
Oh gosh.
Keep drawing everything back toward the wall. Feel that engagement. And then release the hands. Grab that block. Start to remove the block. Straighten the left leg. Block in the left hand. Finding triangle pose. We're going to stretch the left arm over the left leg. Let the hand descend. Block to the floor. Right arm stretches up. Again, that right bum cheek is pressing back toward the wall. Both shoulder blades on the wall. And they might not touch today, but that's the direction they're going. The arms spread apart, nice and open. One more breath. And Trikonasana, triangle pose. And then that hand comes, the floating hand, bring it to the hip. Bring the block with you, lift on up. Whoa. Take the toes toward the center of the room and then just kind of heel toe the feet together. Bring the block with you as you come to the short edge of the mat. I'm going to come toward the center of the room. Find yourself in mountain pose. Again, remembering that block. Remembering the wall. Noticing how it feels. We'll circle the arms up and overhead. And then a big swan dive down. I'm going to keep that block, that right block, just to the outside of my right leg. Let it go, and then half lift, extend the spine. Fold, bend the knees so much, hands come to the mat. Your left leg steps back, stretch it back, shift the weight back, land the foot. Okay, we're going to lift up to warrior two. So bend through that right knee. Maybe you walk the hands up the thigh. We're opening up to the long edge of the mat. Opening the arms, bending through the right leg. Yes. Perfect. Y'all look great. Feel free to widen the stance. I've been exploring lately. The more I spread space between my feet, the easier it is to bend that right knee. And then imagine that feeling of the wall. We're going to draw the left bum back, draw the right knee back. Gaze over the right arm. Left hand comes to the hips, straighten both legs. And then start to reach toward the center of the room. Reach, 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 reach. Let the right hand come down, finding the block. Notice that left bum, roll it back. Reach the other arm up to the sky. Gaze is your choice. Up, straight, or down. One more full breath here. Bring that left hand, floating hand to the hip. Bend the right knee. Gaze down at that right foot. Hands come forward to the mat. That back heel has to lift. Giant step, top of the mat. Move your block over to the left side of the mat. And then half lift, extend. Exhale and fold. Take both arms up and overhead. Reach them up toward the ceiling. Let the arms lower. Find your mountain. Let the breath move through the body. Notice where you feel sensation in the body. Arms reach back up overhead. Swan dive down, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, send the hands down to the mat. Right foot, giant step, back to the mat. Roll the heel in, press into the feet, lift up. Warrior two, facing the other long edge of the mat. Adjust the feet, bend that left knee. Think about the space behind you. And you draw that right bum cheek back to the wall and the left knee back to that imaginary wall. And you settle into the posture and find some ease in the middle of all of this activity. Hand closest to the wall, slide it to your hips, straighten both legs. Reach to the center of the room. It's the rib cage reaching down to the leg. Hand finds the block. Press into the block, extend through the spine, lengthen the arms back up. Trikonasana, other side. Noticing, exploring. Release the hands. Look down at that left leg, bend the left knee. Hands are coming forward. Lift that back heel, giant step, top of the mat. I'm going to take my block and just set it off to the side. Half lift and a fold. Take the arms up and overhead. And then release the arms. Mountain pose once more. Now notice where your blocks are. We're going to take that little meditative walk to pick up our blocks. They're both coming to the center of the room, but we're just going to kind of enjoy the journey. So think about shifting your weight to one leg, other leg, toes, ball, heel. Small steps. Toes, ball, heel. Toes, ball, heel. You're walking along the mat until you find that other block. When you do, bend the knees, pick it up. And then as we walk forward, we're changing the movement. We'll step heel, ball, toes. Heel, ball, toes. Now for me, this is super challenging. If you do not find it challenging, you want to kind of give a little oomph, try to do it with your eyes closed. It is a brain challenge for me. When we arrive at the top of the mat, we got both blocks. Here we go, arms lift up. Take a forward fold. We'll bring our blocks to the highest level. Slide the blocks in, I like them in line with my heels. So the hands are behind us. Step the left foot back. Now press into the blocks, start to straighten both legs. Think about shifting the weight back, lowering the back heel. I like a little bit narrow stance here, so I might pop that back foot in a little bit if this is tight. We're going to draw the right hip toward the wall. That's the front hip. Shift that bum toward the wall. Breathe. Lift the back heel, bend the front knee, step it forward again. Release the blocks, fold, soften. And then find the blocks again, other leg, giant step, send it back. Straighten both legs, try to root the back heel. We're lengthening through the spine. Think about that left bum and stretch it back toward the wall. Pyramid pose. Changing our movement here, soft bend in both knees. Send that right knee to the mat. Excellent. Shift the hips forward and back. You're welcome to float the front toes up off the mat. Okay, 2 more, those Ardha Hanumanasanas. And then slightly bend that front knee. Front leg, bring it back, knee to the mat. Switch sides, other leg comes forward, step it through. Find that Ardha Hanumanasana, this side. Bending and extending through the front leg. One more. Take the right foot back. Slide the blocks out of the way. Tabletop pose. Shift the hips side to side. You can add a little stretch through the neck. So as the hips go to one side, the gaze comes around and looks at the hips. And then pause. Check in with the knees and notice. If the knees are feeling good, stay here. If the knees are feeling kind of like, oh, I'm not sure, then I want you to roll onto your back and take that figure 4 like we did at the beginning of class. Moving into pigeon, we'll slide the right knee forward. Just wiggle the foot out of the way. You can take the block and slide it underneath the right hip. You can wiggle the left leg back. You're welcome to stay lifted. You're welcome to lower down to the forearms to soften through the shape. Little resting pigeon. Several breaths here, inviting the space of the hips to release. Go with some of the tension. If you've lowered down, you've got to lift back up again, hands find the mat. I like to magnetize the legs together, squeeze the legs together, take the prop out if you used it. Right leg goes back. Stretch that right leg behind you, toes to the ground. Just shift forward and back a few times. Give that leg a little bit of love. As you come forward, knee taps down. Left knee comes toward the left wrist. Wiggle the foot out of the way. Feel free to slide that block underneath the hips. Your choice to stay lifted, engaging through the back, or to lower down to the forearms or to a block. Where can you soften? Maybe it's a longer exhale. Or a parting of the lips, or even a sigh as you exhale. Hands come back to the mat. I'm going to change the transition here. So right now we're facing the center of the room. Lean over onto that left leg. Start to roll the torso around. Let the hands support you. Slide them behind you. We're coming to bring our feet to the wall again. So kind of inch your way toward the wall. Feet make contact with the wall. Notice the L shape of our body, Tadasana. Press the heels into the wall. Press across the toe mounds. Float the toes, spread them apart. Land them back on the wall. Reach both arms up toward the ceiling. Lengthen through the spine. And then shrug the shoulders down the back. Pause there. Imagine you had a wall behind you. Could you imagine feeling the flat part of the hips against the wall, the shoulder blades against the wall, even the back of the head? With the next exhalation, hinge forward. Bring the belly toward the thighs any amount. Let the hands come down toward the mat. Keep the spine nice and long here at the beginning. I'm going to think about gripping fingertips into the mats and drawing the chest, the collarbone toward the wall. Your gaze is down at the feet or the ankles, neutral space through the neck. And then walk the hands back toward the hips, slide them back, lift up the body, and pause. One more time here, circle arms up and overhead, check the back of the body nice and straight, hinge forward. Now, if there's no arthritis in the spine, no issues in the spine, feel free to round. If there are issues in the spine, stay nice and long. Legs active. Did you forget to press your heels into the wall as you hinged forward? Walk the hands alongside the outer legs, lift up through the spine again. And then bend the knees. We're going to scoot closer to the wall, do a little butt scoot, like a little butt walk, bringing the feet closer, knees bending. I've got a good 2 feet between the wall and my bum. Lower the body down. Now, as you lower, you might find that if you were to walk the feet up in line with the knees, that you're a little bit too far away to feel like you're sitting in a straight back chair. And if that's you, just wiggle. We want to feel the feet on the wall, knees over the hips, spine interacting with the mats. Let the arms come out to the sides. It can be a W shape, a T shape, a cactus arm. Come back into those pelvic tilts. Press the feet into the wall, lift the tailbone, and then roll the tailbone down toward the mat. And take that several times, just noticing and feeling the curves of the spine. Notice the feedback from the wall, the mat, the floor. And then take that right ankle, cross it over the left leg. Move the right knee toward the wall. Start to heel toe that left foot down toward the wall, toward the floor. We're coming into a twist in our figure 4. That right knee is still moving toward the wall. Take several breaths there. Start to roll the back of the head side to side, real slow. Not like you're driving down the highway, but just like you're kind of taking in the horizon, nice and slow. And then as the gaze comes back up to the ceiling, pause. Notice that left foot on the wall. Heel toe the foot up. We're rolling both bum cheeks to the wall, coming into that figure 4. When you feel the back of the hips on the mat, let's hug the right knee into the chest. I'm going to hold behind the leg. And then just take a few extensions through the leg, lift that right knee or right foot, and then bend that knee. You're welcome to wiggle through the ankle if that feels good. And then set the right foot on the wall. Setting up for the other side, take 2 of those pelvic tilts. Curl the tailbone down and then roll the tailbone up toward the backs of the knees. Little seesaw motion with the back of the hips. And then neutral. Left ankle crosses over the right leg. We stretch that left knee toward the wall. We try to maintain that as we heel toe the right foot down like a little, it's not quite a semicircle. The bottom half of the rainbow, like that foot's moving toward the pot of gold. We're pausing in stillness when we arrive at our twist. Find a few nods, yes, with the head. Lift the chin. It's going to feel a little restricted, and then tuck the chin. Do that maybe 2 more times, just noticing. And then once more, the right foot, heel toes back up the wall. Letting both bums rest on the mat. Release the foot. Let's take the pinky toes toward the wall. Bring the bottoms of the feet together and the knees move toward the wall. So butterfly. It's almost more of a kite shape because we're so far away from the heels. You might flutter those knees again and notice what muscles activate there. And then the bottoms of the feet find the wall again, knees closed. Let's hug the left knee into the chest. Again, hold on to the back of the leg. Let the knee extend and bend. Now we're here. If you want to come back into that legs up the wall for that final resting pose, your Shavasana. Feel free to make your way there. If you want to stretch out long on the mats, just push away from the wall. If you want to roll onto the side and forget all about the feedback, that's totally cool. We'll come into a shape where we can let the effort of the practice go. Whatever props we use, they support us in softening or surrendering into the stillness, into the quiet. You might let the mind scan through the body, noticing the toes, the ankles, the hips, the spine. What shifted and what feels the same? And then check in with the breath. Connect to that flow of breath. Anchoring the mind to this present moment. Linger here for 5 more rounds of breath. We've all chosen a different variation for Shavasana. So maybe in this last round of breath, you focus or you plan your escape route. You can bring movement into the body. Whatever calls to you. Eventually, we might roll to one side. We might press ourselves up. And then we'll meet in a comfortable seat. You might be floating in the center of the mats. You might find the wall again. Using that feedback, noticing how it feels there. Take the arms out to the side, stretch them up overhead. Slide the palms together down the midline. Thumbs are welcome to pause at the heart or return to the left. A soft tuck of the chin, just a gesture of gratitude for the experience, for the movement, for the breath. And in gratitude from my heart to each of yours. Namaste.